All right, hey, we're back. This is part 2 of section 12.4, MGF 1106, Liberal Arts Math, and we are doing Measures of Dispersion. I don't know if I mentioned that word quite a lot, but dispersion, when you think about disperse, right, when a crowd disperses or buckshot, from a shotgun, it disperses. Well, that's what we're trying to describe. Does the data disperse? Or is the data close together as far as the values? Okay, so we talked through the 6 steps. Now I'm going to walk you through the 6 steps. If you don't have your calculator, I need you to go get your calculator, like right now. Okay, go get your calculator while I talk about this problem. So we're going to look at the heights in inches of the top 6 scorers for the Cleveland Cavaliers during the 2008-2009 season. Now, this is not critical, earth-shattering data. It's just a data set that we're going to work through, okay? So, find the variation and the standard deviation, and that involves us working through 6 steps. Again, I'm going to try to show you how to combine them, okay? First, though, we have to find the mean. So you're going to have to actually calculate that. You're going to have to show me how to do that. I need to see your work on this, all right? Or at least the big number and the bottom number, which would be the sum. Remember, sigma, sum, x, the sum of the x's. Okay, so it's 80 plus 73 plus 87 plus 74 plus 83 plus 74. And that is going to be divided by n, the number of data items, which is 6. Okay, so let's do it. You ready? So 80 plus 73 plus 87 plus 74 plus 83 plus 74, and that is 471. And again, if you just showed me that number, I'd know that you know what you're doing. And I also would know that if you didn't get 471, then you were going to get this whole problem wrong, because the entire problem is based on the mean being correct. You're going to use the mean in every calculation. So please get the mean correct. 78.5. And yes, the decimal is important. All right, 78.5. Okay. Now, this is where I'm going to show you a couple of steps that if you were going to do every step one at a time, this is what you would do. But I'm going to show you how to combine steps 2, 3, and 4 in the calculator, and I will be your favorite professor. Okay? So again, the idea, step number 2, is to find how much each item differs from the mean. So they already did 80 minus 78.5. 73 is the next data item, so you do 70, 73. I'm going to have to use a smaller pencil here. Okay, so 73 minus 78.5, and I still can barely fit that in. 73 minus 78.5, and that's negative 5.5. Now, that doesn't really matter that it's negative, because you're going to square it. And that's the key of squaring it, okay? And you'd have to do that for all the numbers, and then you'd have to go and square them all, and then you would add up whatever you got. Now, I'm going to show you how to find this sum, 165.5, doing it on the calculator all at once, and all you have to do is report back to me the 165.5. That's key. That's key. I'll know you did everything right if you write that number down. And I got to see that, gang. I need to see the 165.5. And here is how we do it. So on your calculator, you will actually type this on your calculator. You ready? You're going to type with the, and I'll do it with you. We'll do parentheses. Okay. So I'll do each data item. I'm going to do the item minus the mean squared, plus, and I'm going to actually type it just like this on the calculator, okay? So that it's going to do all the work for me. Notice I'm using parentheses. 73 minus 78.5, and I have to square that. Okay. Plus 87. So I'm going to write it out, and then we're going to go to the calculator, and we're going to do it together. Okay. I'm going to have to write these down really quick so I can switch to the calculator with you. Oh, almost forgot the parenthesis. 87 minus 78.5. Be really careful. Plus, so I've done 80, I've done 73, I've done 87. I got to do 74 minus 78.5 plus 83 minus 78.5. And the last one, 74 minus 78.5. Okay? So, give me a second. I did not plan ahead. I should have written these out. I forgot we were going to do this, okay? So I'm going to write these down really quick, and then I'm going to switch over and I'm going to show you on the calculator how to type this out, especially if you have a TI. But any calculator that allows you to kind of type as you go. Remember I told you early on, that's why you wanted to buy a calculator where you could see what you typed, okay? I'm almost there. This actually gives you a chance to make sure you've got your calculator, and we're going to do this together. You're going to see that this makes the problem, oh my goodness, so much easier than you doing every step. If you look in your textbook, you'll see every step, but I'm going to show you how to combine. I mean, I'm showing you the steps. I'm just showing you, I'm going to show you how to combine it, okay? Because this part right here, the 80 minus 72, that is step 2, okay? That's step 3, and then adding them up is step 4. So we're going to combine them all together, okay? You're ready? Here we go. So let me find our calculator, okay? And I just start typing. Ready? Here we go. 80 minus 78.5 squared, all right, plus, parenthesis, careful, 73 minus 78.5 squared, isn't this great, plus 87 minus 78.5 squared. Okay, just be careful. It's always the data item minus the mean. That's why you see how the mean, if you don't get the mean right, your whole problem's wrong. Okay, so 87, now I'm at 74. I'm going to go off the screen here, so you got to make sure you're kind of watching at least the last couple. So what's the next thing we're going to type? 74 minus 78.5, close the parentheses, square it, couple more, plus 83 minus 78.5 squared, and the last one, plus 74 minus 78.5 squared, and the magic number, drum roll please, bam, 168.29. Write that down, 168.29. Now, I thought it was 168.25. Let me just make sure that I didn't do anything wrong, did I? Let me just make sure. Oh, I did. Look at 78.8. It's 78.5. See that, gang? See that, gang? You gotta be careful. Careful. I'm just scrolling through. Okay. There it is. 168.5. I knew it. All right, so we write that down, and we remember that, and then we come back to our work, okay? And there it is. Okay? So we're going to call that the magic number. I need to see that every time you do a standard deviation. Are you listening? I cannot give you credit. I will not give you credit if you simply just give me the answer. Okay? I need to see at least that step. Okay, you don't need to show me what you put in the calculator. I need you to write down this number right there. Okay? Because from here on out, it's so easy from here on out. Okay? From here on out, it's so easy. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it says divide the sum by n minus 1. That'll give you the variance. Now again, that's just for the homework. You can combine step 5 and 6, and I'll show you how in a second. So our magic, the sum is the, whoops, let's get a little thicker there. The sum is the magic number. I know that's silly, but it'll stick in your head. Okay, you'll remember. Got to find the magic number. Okay, so it's 168.5. That was from the previous step, from the previous page, right? 168.5. Whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. Did I write it down wrong? Let me double check. 165.5. Look at that. Look at that. I am screwing up left and right. 165.5. It says it right there. And it says it right there. Okay. Oh my goodness. You got to be so careful. 165.5 divided by n minus 1. What was n? Well, n is 6. N is always the number of data items. So divide it by 6 minus 1. Okay, divide it by 6 minus 1, which is 5. So let's calculate that. 165.5 divided by 5 is 33.1. That's the variance. Now again, other than in a statistics project, or if you're doing research, or for the homework, that's the only time they typically ask you for the variance. Okay, what we are really looking for is the standard deviation. And that, you just take the square root of the variance. So do you see how you could combine 5 and 6? Really, the standard deviation, okay, here we go. Standard deviation is the square root, okay, of the magic number divided by n minus 1. So you can really combine steps 5 and 6. And I'll do it for you. So the standard deviation is the square root of 165.5 divided by n minus 1, which is 5. Go ahead and try that on your calculator. Okay. You may have to put the whole thing in parentheses, but just make sure everything stays under the calculator, under the square root. So second square root, 165.5 divided by 5, and hit enter. And there you go. You should have gotten 5.75. Okay, that's your standard deviation. Now, we'll talk a lot about this, but definitely more in a stats class. But here's the idea. If I put all of these heights, wrote the heights on a piece, each number on a piece of paper, and I put it in a hat, okay? And I reached in and I pulled out one number. What it means is that on average, the number that I pick will vary from the mean. What was the mean? 78.5. The number I pick will vary on average, vary on average by about 5.75. Okay? So the lower this standard deviation, the closer the data is together. The larger, the more the data is spread out. That is, at times, very important. Okay? All right. So I really wish I could field some questions, but here's what I want to do. All right? I'm going to ask you guys to, I think I am. I'm going to stop the video. We're going to have 3 parts to this, only because I really need you guys to practice this, okay? So I'm going to stop the video while you go ahead. I want you to find the standard deviation for sample A. Work it out, okay? Get the mean, write down the mean, write down the magic number, and see if you can get the standard deviation, okay? I'm going to tell you that it's 2.16. See if you can get 2.16. And then when you're ready, start it back up, and then I'll work through sample B with you one more time. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's stop it. I'll give you a chance to work it out, and then you come back and you go to video 3, part 3, for the continuation. Okay? All right. Talk to you in a few minutes.